my God. Okay, pop-ups popping up, and I don't know what for. I'm curious if everybody can hear me. Last time I did this, I had lots of streaming issues. So now I've got it hardwired in that it's going to work like it's supposed to. They can hear me. Okay, looks like if I push that button, it'll be. This is just the microphone that's built into the 2023 iMac. That's supposed to be the latest and greatest thing in the whole wide world and the Apple world. And I do have it hardwired in, so we won't have whatever was happening last time. I can't think of the word. I'm glad you guys can hear me. Kind of waiting for everybody to show up here. We got 6 o'clock right now. Hello, everyone out there in Classic Model Trains land. I got some questions here that showed up. I asked on Facebook earlier today. I printed them off. And then some of the questions that were initially in the chat before we got started, I printed a few of those off. I know there's going to be a lot of questions that are out there. And if I miss it as it scrolls by the scroll, because it's hard for me to look at the screen and talk to you if I'm looking over here trying to look at the scroll. And so if you have a question and I miss it, then, copy and paste it. And then that way, a little bit later on, you can click it in again. And then hopefully I can get to it. Looks like everybody's showing up out there. Very nice. I, of course, cannot tell how many people are. I'm coming at you on the Opera on YouTube streaming. I know sometimes other people will let me know what the count is. Last time I did this, I thought I could see how many people were watching. Somehow, the last live stream that I did, I said something in it. They got the whole video demonetized. And I usually try to keep it pretty clean when I'm chatting along. And I might, leaning over the bed of the pickup truck talkie, but I'm not sitting in a bar kind of talkie. But boy, whenever I said something, it got mad at me. So hello. 32 people right now. Dave, East Coast Dave says. So interesting. I don't know. I can't see that like I could last time, but it's getting out. Oh, I know what it is. This had pop-out dashboard. There. Got it. That's now I can see what's going on. YouTube, indeed, it can be a little strict. Now we got guys that are down there in Australia and New Zealand. I've already seen that from so far. Dan Crane out there in San Diego. It is amazing. And I can't tell if it's 11:30 in New Zealand or if it's like 3 a.m. because zones are huge down there or something, I think. Uh-oh. Hope we don't have a storm come in and knock out the power. Had that happen one time when I was being interviewed by a night out there on the East Coast also. Questions. They're all talking about this layout. As long as you guys know, I scored that gigantic club layout. And I've been busy working on it. And some of the questions were coming in. Hey, am I going to live stream that venue? No, because there's no electricity up there. And there's internet, but I can't get on it because they've got cameras all over the place. And internet, you use your phone to open up the gate, use your phone to open up the lock on the thing. It's pretty fancy. You've seen the thumbnail for this video here. Any images of the layout will be showed in the video that's going to be coming up this Monday morning at 10 a.m. We got a tour of it, and we've got what we've been doing to it. As of right now, trains cannot run on it yet. We'll be wired up. We'll have it done by Monday. Maybe some of it might have some juice to it where we can run something back and forth on one track. Depends upon the weather. It snowed here, and it's cold, and I don't want to go into that storage shed and try to do trains because that's just miserable. So some of these questions that we had earlier in it, Mark Palmer's asking, what got you into trains and what was my first set? Well, my dad drug home about trains when I was just little, 4 or 5 years old, kindergarten. My dad brought home stuff from the flea market out in the Denver, Colorado area. And it was Lionel and Marks. And then he had some American Flyer. We played with that a little bit. And I had an HO set up in my junior high years, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then, like everybody else, as it happens, you get into motorcycles and cars and other things that take girls, take your passion. And I didn't get really back into it until I turned about 50. Empty nest, good job, lots of extra money to spend, and I decided, hey, I want to get back into trains. And then I started YouTubing, and that's kind of how I've been doing with that. Dave Schmidt says, Ron, live. I can't hardly contain myself. David Schmidt, he's a hoot out there. Robert Sterling said he's looking forward to it. Thomas Erland Bailey, me too, hurry up. These are questions. These were typed on the Facebook chat. So if there, when I threw it up, if you guys don't know that, I've got a Facebook fan page called Classic Model Trains. You can talk about stuff on there. Dan Van Verst, looking forward to it. Stephen Sudeth says, run some trains. I don't have that ability to do that, Stephen, unless I held my cell phone up and live streamed, and then because none of my cameras can go. I guess that all right, but we're not going to be running any trains tonight. Rob Bennett says, you may have brought this up before, but if not, how did you get introduced to railroading, and what railroads drew your interest in your younger pre-mega merger days? I just kind of mentioned it a little bit, played with it as senior high. I don't have a specific railroad that I lean towards. I'm not a rail fanner, which I know. I hope that half of you don't hate me because I'm not a rail fanner. I used to work on semis, but I never went to the truck stops and took pictures of them driving in and out of truck stops. So I just, different strokes for different folks for sure. William Dayak Jr. says, generator's a big deal. It's just once working in and out of unit, no fumes. I know, right? I can't tell what the code. People talk in text code, and I can't read it. I got to have full sentences. I've just got a little tiny 1,000-watt generator that runs on propane, one of them little suitcase jobs, and it's sitting outside the door, blowing the exhaust outside. So it's not fumey. I just use that to run some LED lights. So far, I use it to run the vacuum. I'll probably, more than likely, since I'm an RV guy, I've got inverters. And when it comes time to running the layout, I'll probably just run it off of batteries and inverters because I can. And I can drag the batteries home, throw them on a battery charger, charge them up, drag them back up there. So that one works out really well. Rail City said it'd be a lot cooler if you run some trains instead. Sorry, Rail City, I can't do that. I'm not set up to do that right now. AE Stude says, what power supplies are you going to run? I have not yet decided. Honest, this thing is so big and there's so much going on it. It's got 4 zones that are built in already. There's 3 main loop tracks, and then the yards. All the yards that are on it have a separate wiring circuit to them. And it was DCC, first generation Digitrax initially. I would like to, I guess I'm going to ask you, for the big clubs that are out there, what do you guys run? I know there's Digitrax, there's NCE. I've got NCE here. I still find DCC to be a huge hassle. I would like to do maybe Blue Nami as something different. Just shoot 16 volts down and drive it off your cell phone. I know you can do that with Lionel stuff, TMCC it's called. So I'm going to experiment around, do some research, and find out what's the neatest thing out there that I think will be something to talk about or learn about instead of just doing what everybody else is doing. It's kind of where I'm at with. When's the next video? Huge Trayon Action Jackson. Videos come out every Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's when I try to do it, unless I flip out and need to take a break for a while. But that's usually for 2.5 years. Mondays, 10 a.m. Atkinson Bradford, he must be down there in Australia because he said that it's already Good Friday there. getting back on track with Steve. Only DC for me at this time. I hear you. I do like DC because it is just painless. It really is. I've got enough transformers down there, DC ones, that are big enough where I could just set them on a table and hook up 4 power supplies and I could run the whole thing. And I'll initially do that because I don't have a DCC club sized layout. I don't have power boosters. I don't have any of that fun stuff yet. So I'll start off with DC. Sean, I'm glitchy, like a meth head in a police station, all nervous and stuff like that. Huh? Oh, geez. So, is anybody else having glitch problems? It's the first one I've seen. I like the idea of Blunami, but still pricey. Patrick Sparks. I have not. I don't know what's it called. The decoders. I know you have to have a Blunami decoder, and I don't know. So, oh yeah, Paul Bonner out there says, hit the like button. Like button. I guess if you were watching this on a tablet, cell phone, something where you've got more of a window, I've always wanted to know what those little hearts that fly up over the chat scroll. I know there's a heart down there right now. What happens if everybody pushes that heart button? Will there be a bunch of hearts like helium balloons? There's one. There's a whole bunch. Yeah. Okay. I've always wondered what that's. And there's smiley faces, and I don't know what that does for the algorithm, but I see it on sometimes when I see other things. It's like, oh, thank you guys. That's super nice of y'all out there. Tom Meyer, thank you very much. 20,000. I couldn't believe that happened. Dale Fraschetti, stump puller's been stalled out. I stalled out. This train layout kind of fell in my lap when I was taking a break, and then I just immediately came back to it. So stump pullers, nothing yet, but I'm going to be getting on those. The guy right underneath Dale Fraschetti, I think maybe I might have got demonetized because I kept saying your username. So minor glitching thing compared to last time. We're going to call you SD because that might have been a deal because maybe it's a cuss word. I don't know. Could have been. So I'm going to avoid using your username and just see. So nothing against you. I think it's a great username. LED lighting on my screens looks very nice. Max Headroomy. Dang it. Unbelievable. Yes, you're lagging every now and then. Sorry, you guys. I am hardwired. I went out and bought a new router. I bought a cable to go into this thing. I can run a Ookla speed test. Of course, I'll probably do that, and then it'll bog. Spectrum. Okay, go. Doing an Ookla speed test. Of course, I got 4,000. See, I got fast down. I can stream like nobody's going up. It's supposed to be 10. Maybe we'll be lucky if we get 8, I guess. YouTube's end. Oh, 9. See, I don't know if these would megabits per second. What? Now, why is it? So, yeah, that's my down. That's my up. There's Mark Howley out there. Wayne says it's pretty good. So I don't know what to think about it. Scooting into some questions that Robert Shell. Yes, you're lagging every now and then. Okay. Kurt Sunday. Yeah, you guys can type it, I guess. I'm just seeing because I don't want to get demonetized on the video. I'm just trying to figure out what, Hello, Troy Daniels. How are you doing? Earlier today, Robert Amos typed out on the Facebook. I asked for questions early on, so that way I wouldn't be sitting here. So I get afraid about just like, and there might be 3 people, which actually be because then you could chat more. But he says, do you envision taking the layout on the road to set up for folks to see in action, like at a train show? Would you like to make your modular layout a club layout again where members can keep it going? The first part of the thing, yesterday, me and Dale, who is the president of the Yellowstone Valley Model Railroaders, he's the last guy. He's the guy that got me the layout. He's everybody that was, they either quit or they went to the new club in town, Rimrock Modeler Way. It took us 5 hours to level it. It took me 2 days to put the legs on the thing and figure out to make the thing look like an oval. It is not built to move quickly. It would have to be updated in order to get it to move, like a rock and roll show coming in and coming out, because there ain't no way in the world I would want to spend a week setting it up for its last 8 hours and then spend 2 days taking it down. Oy. Would I like to make a club layout again? Well, there's a club in town. I think all the guys are in the club, are down there at the club. I haven't really been able to find local guys that want to help. There's a couple, 2, 3, and 2, 3's 2 to 3 more than I've got now. But do I envision 10 guys with this? I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Crossing this one off so I can keep up here. Yeah, I mean, Pro Space Dog says Midwest is getting pounded by wind. Robert Hughes says he wished they would have kept all his trains from the 70s. I know. Some of these guys comment out that they still got their childhood train set. I'm like, oh man, I couldn't imagine that, because everything I had, my dad sold it off because we ended up moving, and he wanted us to, move light. You got to jam everything into a 24-foot U-Haul and hit the road. Other word to avoid. Oh, yeah. Paul Bonnard. Patrick Sparks. Yeah, it would be a huge hassle. Any error or road name you're going to model it off of. Scott Madison. In Billings, it's got Great Northern Empire Builder passenger set that was in it. The yard that it is supposed to be modeled after the Laurel yard, which is just down the road from us about 18 miles. So I guess I'm going to keep this one more what would be in the Billings area, or what these guys would have modeled back in the day. Billings had you guys are going to find out that I'm not I'm not much of a rail fan, so I'm not 100% sure all the railroads that did come through here at the 50s, the 70s, the 80s. We had Montana Rail Link. Now, SF took it over. It was, what is this thing say up there? Great Northern. Great Falls, which isn't very far away, they had another completely different line. So I guess I'm going to have to bone up on my Montana rail history, and I'll probably focus on the railroads that came through at that time. So White Buffalo 84 out there, thank you very much. Open it, and in 3 steamers, 3 rail line. I would like to video and send it to you. That'd be great. White Buffalo 84, reach out to me, send me an email, classicmodeltrains@aol.com. It's the best way to reach out to me. How long do you think it take to clean all the track? Lyle Smith, I seen that question earlier. Either that somebody else asked. First, I'm going to vacuum it, and then I'm going to use. I've had a luck with this. Who doesn't sponsor me? So no, it's a tidy track, and they got the different tips that go on them for scrubbing, and it's going to take a lot of time. Right now, the layout is 10 feet by 43 feet, because I can't put another module in to get the thing widened out a little more because I ran out of room. And there's 3 circles that go all the way around the outside, the main lines, plus all the stuff. Wear out a couple pads. I should probably order some up right now, because it's gonna be a lot. But the rails are gonna have to be polished first before anything. I'm going to use on it as a liquid, and that's just going to, clean the dirt off. And I'm not going to go down the path of what liquid to use because of working and it's negatively charged and positively charged, because I've seen those arguments in some of the Facebook groups I've seen, and it can go on and on and on. So I am going to experiment with what is the best and go that route. There's more hearts bubbling around. Troy thinks the Denver and Rio Grande went up into Montana. Could be. Not 100% sure. Billings. Scott Madison says Billings primary were Great Northern, Northern Pacific, Milwaukee. Yeah, I sure. I say things. Patrick Sparks, Montana Rail, BNSF, Great Northern. Yeah, they got, yeah, I like the colors. Uh, Montana Rail Link. There is some Montana Rail Link stuff in there. I guess I got to decide on an era. I myself like to model 63 and back. So I would run stuff that's back, 63 and earlier. I wouldn't go into the 70s and 80s. So that will kind of keep the maximum railroads down, keeps the cars shorter too. And I like the buildings. I like the cars. I like the simpler. They say it was simpler times back. Okay. Gary Keller up. It have nickel plate track, and it does have Pico switches on it. Some are powered, some are not. So it's got quality stuff on it for sure. Mid-century is a good era, Glenn Narwold, yes. Kurt Sunday, thank you for 200 concurrent viewers, 200 people. Let's see here. Oh, Lyle Smith, I think I just answered your question. I found that you'd written that down on the Facebook about how long it's going to take to clean the trees. Yeah, it'll probably be a couple days of scrubbing. Joe Cantonese wants to know if it's going to be DCC or go straight DC. If maybe some guys are joining in, it'll be DC initially. I'm going to explore other options. I guess it depends on if there's also more guys that want to operate at the same time. Honest, I can only watch one train at once. If you got two going and something derails, by the time I hear it, realize what it is and try to shut it down, it'll probably round my luck or burning is on fire. So I have a hard time running multiple things at once. Where cats? Patrick Sparks says, hit like and subscribe, people. I never really subscribe big too much. I did that back in the day. I know people do know, and every channel, my channel has got 6% of the people that watch it are not subscribed, and then 40% are 30 to 40%, depending upon the video. And I hear when other guys on other channels that are not related to this, and they're huge channels, they have the same problem. It just seems what it is that people watch it on their TV and they're not signed in, and they can't subscribe or they don't know how to subscribe on the TV, and that's what makes it hard for people getting around to subscribing. Yesterday morning, I woke up to having 20,000 subscribers. That's a number. It's just beyond me. It's amazing. Thank you, all the people that are out there, all the people that have subscribed. Very, very nice of you. Those that haven't, you could subscribe if you wanted. But I know it's going to change the algorithm. It's not like it was 5 years ago or 6 years ago. The subscribers and the algorithm, they're kind of detached a little bit. Subscribers is just it's a fun number to count out. And it gets you closer to having one of them play buttons. There's just a feller named A. It says, one video you're burned out, and the next video you acquired a massive club layout project. Trains find you. Yeah. I had to get a lot of stuff finished up. I had to get the taxes done. I had to get some RVs finished, and I had to get this stuff done, and I just had to stop filming it was really only about 3 weeks. But the way that I make them and show them up, I only had like 3 videos that didn't show up in the month of March. And the production on this club layout, but I got the time I needed to get caught up. Now we're back on the road again. Doesn't take me long to catch my breath. Okay. Is that a Durango and Silverton behind me? Oh, that G gauge? Denver and Rio right there. And then there's that was something that was found in ash of treasures from this huge club layout. Scale train station, you make a good point right there. Yes, I'm a subscriber. Steven, so to thank you for subscribing. Lots of guys, I got such positive feedback from everybody that's out there. We had I just bought this train layout for $1, a club layout for $1, and that video has currently got 70,000 views. But it's got a watch time of about 6 minutes because, God, I'm going to get some beautiful, gorgeous club layout, and when they see that it's some hammered out barn find, that they go and they click out of it. So we did get a lot of subscribers off that video, and it did really well. But I think the majority of the people thought that I got some crown jewel, and everybody knows I don't do crown jewels. I do giant piles, and I polish them up and make them pretty again because that's cheaper and you get more that way. Scott Boyce, thank you very much. Says he really enjoys both of the channels. Justin Young wants to know how long until it shows up a hobby show. I don't think it's ever going to be able to do that. I would have to have guys, like 6 guys, and we'd have to do a lot of work to it to make it very highly mobile, very highly mobile. Stephen Sudith bought 30-liter ultrasonic cleaner. I like ultrasonic cleaners. The last one I had, I thought it would have lasted a little longer. You know, it did a great job, and then it died after 2.5 years, 3 years of having it. But I didn't use it more than 30 times. And then the ultrasonic parts quit that hard. So what do you get? China imports, I suppose. The Warrior Cats says you make some of the finest content this platform has ever seen. Great work. That's very, very kind of you. Railfan, I don't even know how you say that last name. I can't even. I'm going to twist over my tongue over there. The one right underneath Warrior Cats. Love the videos. Just recently subscribed. Welcome aboard. We've gotten, over the last 3 weeks, I've probably gotten 2,000 subscribers that jumped on board. They said, hey, this guy seems like he might be interesting enough to watch. Let's see what he's got to say. Richard Ryan, are you going to put in new scenery? No. Yes, it's got to be kind of repainted and it's kind of dull looking a little bit, unless it had just a bunch of subdued color. But it did sit in a metal shed for 7 years, probably 120 summer, -30 in the winter, faded a lot of stuff out. So there is plans to make it more up to date, flow better. Lots of, hopes and dreams coming on. There's Brandon. There's B. See you on here. Goodness gracious. We used to work together. We were mobile DJs back in the days. One of the guys that we used to run around with and do this. Because of my growing collection. Oh, Jeff Bidlinger. Yeah, I'm a bad influence on a lot of guys. Rest assured. The little lady to watch. If she likes me, then she'll like you getting trains. I mean, likes my personality. This guy's kind of funny, and So Tom's Trains and Accessories. Hello, how are you doing? SD out there wants to know what the song is of my intro music. I got that off of Epidemic Music. I don't know who the group. I don't know the title. I just found it one time, and I store it in all the things that I use. I keep in a file. So now I've got about 100 songs. I'd have to dig through it to try to find that one particular song. But I'm probably going to end up doing that anyway, so I'll be able to answer that for you in a couple. Stephen Dollahan said he's been a subscriber since the beginning. Glad I'm saving the club layout. Thank you very much, Stephen, for your kind words. Yeah, a lot of people like this club layout. Some people are like, oh, I'm one of those. And I'm going to find out what it's like to try to tend to, 900 linear feet of track, because it might be, it's like, oh God, what have I done? So I'm hoping some local guys might come out and play with me with it. So Gary Kellogg, do I have one? No, I don't have a classic model of the week. Not for this live show right here, because I'd have to hold a picture up, because I don't know how to inject JPEGs into this. Gary Keller wants to know how long you plan on being in the storage unit. No power and being on generator seems like a hassle. I would like to find a building to put it in. I was trying to find larger. They got a lot of places around here that'll show you shop space. They're like a shop dominium or something like that, where there'll be 6 or 7 of them in a row. They're typically 25, 30 feet deep, one big garage door, one big man door. But they rent for $1,300 to $1,800 a month. Yeah, they're heated, they're insulated. Yeah, that's really nice. But at this time, I can't swing that. And really, 30 feet wide isn't that big at all. Warehouse space. I need some warehouse space, a large Quonset. I need to bang around and find out what's available out there, to find some local guy that's like a model railroader or something, or he loved it or did it in the past, and then he might swing me a really nice deal. Because the model railroader club here in town, they've got kind of that deal going on where their space is donated to them by the owner of the huge building, and he's kind of a moderator, so they're never going to lose their space because the guy owns the building. So space is insane. Yeah, I hear you there. Scale train station. Troy Daniels looked up all the railroads that were in the 50s and 60s. Great Northern, Northern Pacific, Milwaukee, Butte, Anaconda, and Pacific. Not at all. Vintage Craftsman, I avoid Harbor Freight like the plague. I just, as a mechanic, I'm a mechanic all my life, and I believe in buy once, cry once on your tools. Now, I can't find ultrasonic cleaners that are made in America. I tried on Amazon, and I just can't. And if I do, maybe they're $8. I don't know, but I do not like buying Harbor Freight Chinese tools at all, because you make a living with your tools. You need good tools with a good warranty. Jim Marwood says, I'm the reason that he's back into trains. Thank you, Jim. That's very nice. A lot of guys tell me that. A lot of guys tell me that they were late. I know there's a guy right now that just had one of his, like a foot or from the knee down amputation, and he's laying around waiting for the other one to happen. And he's watching my videos, and it's keeping him up so that when he gets his new bolt-ons, he can pad around and start building his dream layout. That's awesome that, guys that are laid up, they watch me. I keep them motivated. That's super great that you guys share these kind of stories with me. It makes me feel really good. There's a gal out there, Al. Thank you very much. $10 donation there. Keep up the great work. Blue box counter status, kind of. Blue box to rivet counter status. I've only had maybe 2 counter stuffs. I'm not used to that fancy stuff at all. Harbor Freight sells nice wheel weights for HO rolling stock. Yeah, the stick on. You can't go too wrong with the chunk of lead with some stick on the backside, unless the stick goes to not on you after a year or so. Matco and Snap-on tools are made in China. Breaking my heart. They didn't used to be. I have to do some research on that. Oh my goodness. John Garrett over here. He says, I love the Facebook questions from earlier today, especially upgrading the cheaper cars to the expensive ones. I raid the flea markets looking for them. I like cheap cars. $3, $5 car. The metal wheels, they really do bring it around to make that little click, 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 click sound as it goes down the track. To me, horn hooks, if you don't back up, they seem to do a great job. Katie's, sure, a little more of a hassle with them, but yeah, they work. They work better backing up than the horn hooks do for sure. Steven Sudooth out there upgrading the River Aussie passenger cars. Yeah, I got a lot of on that video there, upgrading those things. And they came out really nice. I never shy away from a River Aussie AHM car, passenger car. No, they're gorgeous, gorgeous. Train band, 1993, favorite Lionel train of all time. Geez, that's a lot to ask for right there. They got a lot. Currently, my favoriteest one is my New York Central that I painted up here, I don't know, last fall or something like that, just because it's so pretty. You can't see it. It's at the, I can't even get my thumb to work. It's at the other end of this one right here, just up over there. But that's the one I like the most. Maybe it is visible. Nope. That one. I can't get my thing. That's my favoriteest one, just because it's so colorful. That took every brain cell I had that worked to do that. Waha Tools, made in Germany. Hi, Ron. 15, the DMR Railway. Younger feller out there. Glad to help you fixing those things up. Don't let people give you a hard time. You're starting out stuff, and we all started off with entry-level stuff. You can make the entry-level stuff nicer. As you're in it longer and longer, you'll get nicer and nicer stuff. But guys that pick on the entry stuff, it's like, we need something. You don't when you start driving, you don't buy a Cadillac. the very first out the gate. No, you get some old Ford Pinto or a Diva or a Chevy Chevette, or some guys probably drove 58 Chevys in 1972. You know, you got to have the cheaper stuff when you get going. Patrick Sparks is going to take off, so thanks for popping in. What are the questions? Some of the things that first started out here. Rags Pickle Toes. Oh, he says, will you try to restore the layout operationally in this stream? If so, you run the locomotives in this. What's the dream for the future of this big layout? I'm not sure. Paying $275 a month for that storage shed. I could run stuff in it once it's all said and done, a giant loop. Things could be worked on, but it's going to soon be hot in there. And that's not going to be very good. If you dream big, I'd like to have a building on the property to put it in. That'd be the awesomest thing. Big shop, and then everything's right here. We'll just see if the channel can help, support it with the views and the being monetized, and if it can start to come close to a mortgage payment. That's cool, because I got the day job fixing RVs. So we'll wait and see. I know that the larger channels, maybe they make big bucks, and the channel can earn it on its own just from showing all the ads that YouTube shows. So I'm hoping that the future is looking up, holding out for with it. But right now, I'm just faking it until I make it with the layout. So fixing is part of the fun. Yeah, Paul Bonnert out there. There is a lot of fixing to take place. The buildings some are broken, a lot are broken out there. The cars, they're not in bad shape. They need to be cleaned up because of the mouse poo and urine that's on them, but they'll clean up fine. The metal wheels, the Arcadies are already on them. There's 6 locomotives. They're more than likely C. So it's going to be it'll come around. It's just going to take some time for sure. Oh, Railfan K, pronounce that last name. What's my first ever locomotive I collected? I bought a collection about 7 years ago from out of Laurel, just a town down the road from us. $500 for 5 big boxes I could drag home, and there was cars and locomotives and stuff. It actually had a P2K E8 Union Pacific A and B that I found to be the most amazing locomotive that I've ever seen. It had flywheels. It was heavy. It pulled everything I could put in behind it. So that's the one that sticks out the most in my mind. And then I went ahead and did the right thing and sold it once it had a video made of it, so I could make room for stuff over here. So there's so much locomotives. I don't have a favorite single one. I like the older stuff probably more than newer because it's just so neat. What they did make in the 50s and the 60s. I love the history behind them. So that's where I go. The really, really newer ones, like the Lionels with all the fancy bells and whistles and computer cards. Oh, as soon as one of those cards blow 10 years down the road, it ain't going to run, ain't going to make any noise. You will not be able to buy cards for it. Maybe there'll be some electronic guys out there that are building them in their garage and you can buy an aftermarket card. Time will tell, but just the new stuff, I don't think it'll be running 80 years down the road, 60 years down the road like this older stuff, is my guess. Iron Horse Reviews out there, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Getting a lot of views, yep. Love to see the day my collection turned into an empire. Fidel Bouchard. Yeah. Empires, that's just kind of a frame of mind, I suppose. If you have a 4x8, that's some guys' empires. You make it bigger, go into your garage. It's just everybody's empires, what's in their head and in their imagination. Christopher Mondone, space. I really love that you got the Dollar Train layout. A lot of people have been like, yeah, this is cool. And then they say that they're living precarious through me. Yeah, something. Because they always wanted to have something like that. Never in a million years thought I'd have anything like this. I was planning on building a layout in my RV out there. Now I don't know what to do with it. Turn it up, I guess. I don't know. Put a 3-rail O layout in it. I plan on wanting to do that. I just can't imagine. This was from that KTVQ2 news. Was done on me in January, and then this Dale seen that, reached out to me and brought it up because they were getting kicked out of the zoo from it being stored there. So yeah, I would have never even attempted to build one this size because it's just like, wow, there's people down there, smiley faces and hearts again. Thank you guys so much. Glenn Gordon says he sees some G gauge. That's the first G gauge stuff I've ever had right there. Nice looking, I think it's called a mogul steamer. It's heavy. It's an LGB from Germany, and the thing must weigh 5 pounds. Oh, holy. Is it a beast? Absolute beast. So I'm not going to put an outside G gauge layout, but I would like to build something on something somewhere to run some G around. I've also got a Feller's big old steam locomotive G gauge that needs some work to it. Also, I got to get on that. So there's going to be a couple G gauge repair videos coming up for sure. Local Dave made it in. So he had another meeting, and he was sitting on a board of a nonprofit horse thing, Local Dave, and then he had to do that. I hope you didn't vote anything like, yep. I make a motion that we end this meeting so you could get here as fast as you can. Local Dave. East Coast Dave's, I don't know, is he still kicking around with us or not? Vicariously, yes. Major Tom, yes. Thank you very much. O scale in the RV. Three rail O, yeah. There's so much fun just seeing an N scale layout. Yeah, an N scale layout and a travel trailer. Boy, you could do a lot with N inside there for sure. Scale train station. You wouldn't believe the zoo that we have out here has all the animals that you see around in the wild. They're just in captivity. I know. There'll be a goat, and there's some bison and some coyotes and some owls and an eagle and some goats. And I'm like, I can go out into nature and see those. Why are they at the zoo? So, but that's not for me to question. I guess a lot of people enjoy it. Kurt Sunday wants to know if I thought about selling merch. This is the first shirt I've ever made with the merch. And I messed it up because I had him sew the logo on too low. And the shirts were like $35, and then the stitching is $15. And then it's like, good Lord. And when I used to have a bar and restaurant out in North Dakota, it's called Cousin Ron's Saloon. I had merch there. And you'd have to buy $800 worth of merch, and then you'd sit on it, and then you'd sell it out a bit. But I had a lot of people that were in the bar, and then they got drunk, and then they decided that'd be a good idea to have that shirt or that hat or that hoodie, and then they'd buy it. But on this, you don't have that spontaneous purchase to be shipped and credit card numbers, and I might end up sitting on it, not sure. So right now I'm kind of avoiding merch a little bit. And if I can find some silkscreen t-shirt with a logo that I enjoy, make something like that up, test drive it, I might go down that road for sure. Mike L, American Flyer fan. Been bringing out fiberglass pencils and odorless mineral spirits. Yeah, we got a lot of American Flyer fans. Actually, with my all the data that YouTube shares with me, my last 10 popular videos, what people have been watching, the 3 have been about the new layout. That makes sense. But then have all been Lionel and Flyer stuff. Honest. No watching the HO stuff en masse. So it's like, oh, so we're getting a lot of 3-rail, O gauge, O27, and S gauge American Flyer guys watching stuff. Something new. Bill Hawk, thank you very much. I do got some more S scale coming up. There's a local here in town. He's a canine officer, just gave me a 322, a Hudson, I think it is. Berkshire. No, it's a Burke. A 464. Hammered. Absolutely hammered out. I was just going to use it for parts. Then I found out that it actually has all of its parts to it that were in like 3 baggies. And it's rusted and chipped. I'm like, this one's going to get repainted. Yep, it's going to be all done up. So more S scale, more O, and of course H, yeah, G. It's all scheduled to come up. is what I need. More of me. Major Tom seems your sales plan's already set. Is it time for beer? Oh my. Fidel Bouchard, I do not have an online store, eBay store, classic model trains, but currently there's nothing in it. I sold so much stuff out of there over the winter and the early spring, and I just have not sat down to put more stuff in. And now that I need 9,000 linear feet of HO track filled up with something, I probably won't buy HO stuff. Guys ask if I got any N stuff. I've got just the tiniest amount of N, so I'm not going to go down the road with N stuff for sale. And all my O I want to keep because I'm trying to build a layout for that. So as of now, I don't have anything for sale. Debbie, Jeb down in Illinois. Hello, how are you? Ed Hodge. He says, I'm an HO guy. Do you still have your standard gauge passenger cars? Train man, yes. I do have standard gauge passenger cars. They're reproduction, and I've been trying to get a standard gauge locomotive for it. And the ones that are pretty are expensive. The ones that are affordable are ugly. And I haven't even found a decent basket case that I thought, oh, I could whoop that into shape, because I cannot believe how expensive standard stuff is. Ooh, yes, very, very spendy. Mark Howley wants to know about them railroad signs. I would like to keep those so that one time when I'm home for the layout, I got something to put on the walls. So currently I'm holding on to them right now, but if something happens and I got to start liquidating stuff, yeah, they'll be up for sale. So that's what I know. Railfan, Kay, thanks for popping in on us. John D, at the beginning of this stream, he had asked a question. There's some parts of the new layout that present more problems to get running and can just be treated as no-go zones and bypassed. Yes, there is parts of the track that are like a car crashed into it like this. They're peeled back like a tuna can. Track is not on the ties and it's just flapping in the wind. There's a phenomenal amount of linear foot of track on there. So once it's bolted together now, it's leveled. I have to put the little 9-inch pieces in between the modules and get those in. And then I got to get under it, wire up all the modules to each other. They're built to just wire in. Then I can start looking at each individual model with the track, make a piece of paper that says this needs this, and see if there's a loop that can be run that's capable of doing that. So I spent about 5 to 6 hours a day up there for the last 3 to 4 days this week. So there's lots going on and lots of damage. The way it was moved, stored, moved again, although we were trying to be with it, I didn't know anything about it, and it's got a lot of road rash, road hickeys on it for sure. Yes, it does. With the bison too. Troy Daniels has got, sounds like you got some old Tyco still floating around there. I see East Coast Dave's here now. Caboose 1973, Channel 1. That's why I got one guy, I call him, I met East Coast Dave first, and Dave, and apparently Dave's a common name. So when I'm at town, I started calling him Local Dave and East Coast Dave, because I don't want to go Dave and the other Dave and then the other guy named Dave, because that's already been done. Brandon Bertrand. So what scale did we move? And is that the scale you're going to run with the most? It's an HO scale layout there, Brandon. 1/87th. 87, 1 inch equals 87 inches, 1 feet. That's what that amounted to. Brandon Bertrand was one of the guys that was in the first video that helped me move it. And he was also the guy that helped find some more local labor, got them 2 younger fellers down there to help out us older fellers. Because all my friends are now my age and we're broken down. 57 is tough. I'd take 53 back again in a heartbeat, for sure. ProSpace. So far, the wires do not appear to have any chewing on them. This, by looking at the module, I've seen wires chewed up by mice, and it usually sticks out. It's really pronounced. These modules, I've been on the front and back of each one, and I've not seen significant amount of insulation damage. Not that it's a big deal, because I'm also well versed in electrical. I get it. I know how it works and flows, and I can read schematics, so I can easily replace a lot of the wiring on it that may need to be done. So the wiring does not scare me. I know it'll just be time consuming, but I know it'll happen for sure. Ronald Brooks out there, how you doing? Troy Daniels, I think my parents had a liking to Tyco trains, and oh yeah, buddies back in the day that had the train set from Tyco. Oh, everybody was wanted to be their friend. Yep. I need an RS 1225 switcher. I got so many switchers, Dave, local or East Coast Dave, you wouldn't believe it. Sean, the 12th man, shouting out to all the 33%ers out there. Might be some new guys that are watching, and of course we got a lot of new subscribers. What's a 33%er? With the all the data that YouTube gives me, it shows me how many people start watching a video to how many people are watching it still at the end. A lot of videos in the first 30 seconds, since the videos autoplay, if you thumb over them or something, YouTube counts that as a view. And if you scroll past it, like, oh, what are you going to where you want to go to? You lose a third of your crowd within the first 30 seconds. If you can start a video and you got 66% of the people that might have accidentally scrolled over your thumbnail and it started to play, then you've basically got 100% of the people that really want to watch your video. Then you get attrition through the middle of the video. People just kind of wander off, or their attention span is short, or I'm too long-winded. But by the end, the graph always comes down to 33%, a third of the people. So those are the people that watch 100% of my videos 100% of the time. So I call them 33%ers, because that's what's at the end of every video. That's where that word or that name comes from, 33%ers. Oh, my nose, man, it itches. So, not Gavin. The videos come out every Monday at 10 a.m. They've been coming out every Monday at 10 a.m. for about the last 2 years, for the most part. I might every once in a while throw a bone in there, but that's what I always do, because I film during the week. I edit Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays, and then it's up. And then the members that are Journey higher, they can view the video earlier. And unfortunately, if I would get on more, they have the video out by like noon on Sunday, but I'm always behind the ball. So it shows up at like 9 Mountain Standard Time. But then if they get up Monday morning early, then there it is. They don't have to wait till 10. The perks of being a channel member. That I think most of my Journey level and high members, I've all got your numbers. They've got mine. We talk, this and that. Scale train show. I'm very easily distracted by shiny objects and squirrel. Yeah, yes. Kurt Sunday, thank you very much. Proud. There's Zebo. Yes. Hey, when did you hurt your finger? Oh, this from working in all that dust, touching all the modules, and it's just very dusty, and it sucked all the oil out of my hands, and then my fingers crack on the ends. So I do this, and then for like a week, and then the cracks get healed up, and away I go. It's my Band-Aids, I guess. At the end of your video. Local Dave says I should have a code for free beer at the end of the video for locals. John Garrett subscribed. Thank you for jumping on board. Scott Stubbs says he's a 33%er. Not Gavin. Tim's Bits and Pieces down there in Melbourne, Australia. Tim, what time is it down there right now? It is almost 7 o'clock. I had some guys from Australia. They were telling me it's going to be like 2 a.m. before the video starts playing down there. You guys must have a lot of time zones or something like that. Super Lube! Lance Farmer wants to know if there's any suggestions for a low vision going blind guy that what still enjoys the hobby. A larger scale, I guess, O gauge is out there, G gauge. Really the hardest part is just getting them on the track if you get one of those little ramps for the it's like a chute and you set your car in and then it rolls down the chute and it on the track. That's the hardest part for me. I got to get my glasses on. I got to get my flashlight out and do I have the thing on and roll it back and forth. And oof, once it's on, if you've got good track and it doesn't derail, it's pretty straightforward there. Nothing worse than getting old and going blind, huh, Lance? Brandon Bertrand, I don't want to get demonetized. You zip it. Don't even type it. 10:55 in Melbourne. Well, that's not that bad. It must have been somebody else. Maybe they're in New Zealand or something like that. There's John D. He's in Melbourne. I wonder if John and Tim know each other. Well, Casey McReynolds, biggest challenge, fighting, not getting the mouse poo disease, I guess. Cleaning up the urine and mouse poo. Ugh, that was the first one. Second one, sorting out all the legs. Coming up in the video coming up on Monday, because I've been spending, Thursday, all this week assembling it and putting it together. So I'll have all the stories of all the ick that's been taking place. This is kind of like a preview of what's coming up in Monday's video. Has anything been enjoyable? I think once the yard got all put together, you can see that thumbnail to this video. It's looking all the way down that yard and seeing all the switches and all the yard ladder, and it's just like, oh man, that's amazing. Hantavirus, Michael Steinrock, yes. Guys have been telling me, you need to get a better mask on. Me and Brandon and my buddy Kurt and a couple other 3 young fellers and Dale and Local Dave. Local Dave is the only smart one that brought one of them. And the rest of us are just out there sniffing all this barn dust, house poo, and so Local Dave was the smart one. Bill Hawk said he's only been back in for 18 months. Yeah. My channel rose to the top 5. Yeah, I'm really surprised with the search results and support that's been going out with my channel. I couldn't be happier. I'm super no. Troy Daniels wants to know how to do the wiring. Well, once I get to the wiring, I'll draw a schematic. I'll have the graphics department boys, if I can find them, do some simple schematic drawing. Layout is wired up, because looking at it, it looks like but yeah, we'll be able to draw a schematic up and it'll be a lot easier. I'll put that in the video. That's a good idea. No hantavirus. There's Stephen Waller. Thank you very much. Good evening to you. Ryan, the legs they were made for each individual module, and the module some had numbers, some didn't. Legs sometimes had numbers, some didn't. But if the module had a numbered, they also told you what corner to put them on. But there was about half of a cord of legs stacked up on the ground. You'll see that in the video coming up. And I had to sort them. I had to figure out what the numbers of the modules were, and then I had to figure out the leg, and then walk up and down and match it to the module like a big game of Go Fish, and then start putting the legs on. That's why it took 2 days to do that. Nightmare. It needs to be updated and have all the legs be the exact same, drilled with a jig, so any leg will fit any module on any corner. If it was made to be highly mobile, that would end up happening to it, yes. So even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Yep, that's true there, Local Dave. Too many hobbies, Jeremy. Hello from Wisconsin. I feel the same way about that. Yeah, too many hobbies. Melbourne's got 5 million. I was just making a joke out there, John and Tim. I know that. I suppose it's a really big city too. I was just, us small town folk up here in Billings, and hey, old Joe, he's from Australia. Do you know? That's just something that we do to joke around. Yep. SD. Yeah, the graphics department boys are the ones that do all my diagrams. I'm not very artistic at all. Steinrock's going to be building a new layout. Yes. Plumber and HVAC, James Boggs. God, you're both of them? Jeez. 10-year Class 8 mechanic. Yeah, I did that too. And driver. It sounds like we got the exact same resume. Small amount of truck and suffering years. Yes. James You can sit down and drink beers together for weeks, sharing horrible stories. I can do all those stuff right there. New Zealand's 2 hours ahead of most of Australia. Okay, so that must have been where that fella was from. Do I get a chance to come to Fort Worth, Texas? I couldn't. No, I don't travel too much at all. The reason, because I was a mechanic forever and ever, and all I did was fix people's stuff that broke down when they're traveling. So then I got a built-in phobia of traveling, but I got to break it. That's a little RV. Well, it's not really a little, but I call it the Georgie boy. And of course, I got to like rebuild everything on it here in the driveway so I don't have to do it on the side of the road, and then have an empty $10,000 credit card for things that might happen, and then have every tool known to man with me so that if it does, have the ability to fix it. Then I'll try to get on the road and try to combat my phobia. Kurt Sunday says, my little lady supports me playing with trains to a point. Since it's in the cabin and she's in the RV, I live in RV, full-time RVer, because I don't like to have to rent my house from the government. You pay your property taxes on your RV up here once and plate because it's over 12 years old. And then that's it. And then we don't need much. I live cheap, so I can waste my money on stuff like this. And I don't have to work 40 hours selling my life to the man to try to get by. So I don't have any bills, live as cheap as I can, fix everything I can, be most self-sufficient as much as I can so that I can be as free as I can. The little lady likes it when I get out of the trailer and I come out here, I'm not under her foot. And I'm not bugging her. So she likes, maybe she kind of likes the artistic end of it. I try to get her to help decorate stuff, but she doesn't want to because she says I'll yell at her and say that she's doing it wrong. So she says I get a bad attitude sometimes. Allegedly. Glenn's down there in Arizona. Have the graphics boys add a drawing of a mouse in the corner. Yeah. Nice. You need to travel. I had a Snap-on travel. I basically, because I'll have all my Snap-on tools with me. Read these things as it goes through, and got you exited to find in all the. Casey McRoy, did you discover anything that was unexpected and got you excited to find in all the layout stuff? Yeah, that G-gauge train right there. I didn't expect to find that. I didn't expect to find stock or locomotives. I didn't expect those beautiful signs. There's a big old railroad crossing sign, that's got the reflectors all over it. I just expected the layout and the legs, and that was about it. So yeah, there were some treasures in there that I was really surprised to find. And with being right there, he could have went, nope, mine. He could have, but he didn't. So everything worked out really cool. It really did. Troy Daniels, if you have any more N scale trains to get rid of, I was just talking about the N gauge stuff. I've got not very much at all. Whatever it is around here, I'm just going to hold on to it because I do have a small N layout, and maybe here within a year I might have space to have a small N layout, so I'll need to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to kind of hold on to that stuff. Daniel Peters, yeah, the graphics team, they're always in the bars, I tell you. Brandon doesn't know what to say, huh? Groups are always asking repair questions, and you have the vids. Giuseppe, thank you very much for sharing my name. That's great. Word of mouth. That's better than having 50,000 subscribers that don't watch. Is 2,000 guys going, you should watch this guy. He's funny as heck. That's kind of how I got turned on to Vice Grip Garage. I didn't know anything about him. My buddy Kurt Lind said, you should watch this guy. And I did. And holy moly. And then watching him got me to loosen up a little more from my first 4 or 5 months of videos. Then I loosened up more. Some say I was mimicking him or acting like him. I might have. And then I've kind of settled into my own personality. So if you think I'm still like him, then it could be that all of us all have the same type of personalities. is the only thing I can answer for that. Dave Schmidt, thanks for popping in. And then there's some of these things. Shout out to the fellow train folks in California. Yeah, I try not to holler that expression out because it's overused. I'd rather use the full normal adult version of it, but I don't want to be demonetized, so I would retighten a quarter turn. Giuseppe, thanks. I enjoy that you guys are getting a lot of information out of these. I guess, since there's a lot of guys on here, I probably need to do a YouTube survey too. In the comments, tell me what gauge you guys model. Do I have just a little bit of everybody? Is there something one way or the other? Just in the scroll over here, whoever's with me right now, we got 242 watching, or we had 242, and I'm down to the 13 people that are in the scroll. HO, okay, to East Coast Dave. Yeah, he's got a lot. There's an S guy. Not Gavin does everything under the moon. Do I prefer Atlas or Athearn older locomotives? Buck. Atlas. I don't know if I've ever had any older Atlas. I did work on a newer Atlas that I found out was that fancy Japanese one I'm having a brain fart on right now. Was East Coast Dave told me what it was. So I don't know if I've got any older Atlas. I know some that came with this layout I'll be able to dip into and find. So do I like the older blue box locomotives? Yeah, they're easy to work on, but just a nasty. We got everybody, a lot of HO, a lot of howl buggers. I like the off-brand ones the most, especially something that's quiet. I just got done a Empire builder for a feller, and I just sent it out. It was a River Rossi. It had a little can motor in it with one single flywheel, and it ran so quietly, absolutely amazing. To see if I still got that video, I'll throw it in the next one. But it's just surprising how much quieter and better some of the older stuff is compared to the blue box. Growlers and growlers. Troy forgot about some O scale. Oh my goodness. Oh, Cato, there it is. Yeah, Atlas Cato. So I had it was an Atlas brand, but I understand it was made by Cato for Atlas. James Cotter said he's going to go off to bed right now. So Richard Ryan's a full-time RVer also. Nice to see you in the club. I may not know it since we got a lot of new guys. I do RV repair weekdays or for my real job. That's just what I was using to put money on the bread on the table. I got a YouTube channel called Ron's Classic RVs where I put some of the stuff that I've been working on in the past. A lot of videos on it because it's just so time consuming to edit videos. It's easy to shoot them. Editing them is the hassle. So Flux is in an RV watching me live. Nice. Nice. Richie N25. Thank you very much for the super thanks. I think those are called right there. Work on HO mostly. Do a video on my truck. I've got footage. I've got pictures. I've got a story ready to go. I've got to sit down. So that is planning on coming out. It will be on my art channel, but I will announce when it's done on the train channel to let you guys know about it also. Jesse asks, who's the guy in the picture on the back wall? Lincoln. Oh my God. And then my belly always reaches over and I knock all my cars over. You can find this on Google. Google up Lincoln Boxer and the image will pop up and then you can print it and put it on your wall too. And so I seen it somewhere and I thought, yeah. Somebody says, is that Lincoln with Joe Rogan's body? I'm like, yeah, you're close enough. So Troy Daniel, the brass steam engine. Nice. I'm glad that it worked good. So SD, continued good. Oh, thank you for the donation also. Continued good luck. Very kind of you. Thumb ups on it. ON30. Yeah, I had a bunch of those that I got in the collection. That television interview that I had got me a lot of recognition, and I ended up buying a lot estate things and stuff like that. A lot of those things I was selling in the spring came from that. That is a full-time job. Listing, selling. Guys would, email me, we reach out, we talk. I've talked to people all over the world. Well, not really. Mostly America and Australia and Tasmania. So on the phone, it blew me. So I think I talked to a guy in New Zealand too. Interesting, very interesting. Super chats, Ron. Yes. Slide Cat, Chesapeake in Ohio. Thank you. I'm illiterate to how this thing works. And if I do remember, then them brain cells will be dead by the time this again, and they'll have to be retrained. So there's the local Dave back, or East Coast Dave back. Tim's bits and pieces. He's chatting up with John, I think. They're going to find out they're just 50 kilometers away or 200 kilometers, and then they're going to be buddies again. Yeah, we through Ron's Facebook thing here. Yeah, so Casey McReynolds has quite a variety of them out there, doing all of them. HON and S. Yep. Yeah, I had to look up where Tasmania was. I didn't. The only thing I knew about Tasmania was them devils that come out of there that interacted with Bugs Bunny. And I thought Tasmania was somewhere close to where Dracula come from. No, but I learn more about the world every day by doing all these YouTube videos and talking to guys from all over the world. What William Dyack Jr. said he loved your live show last time. This is beautiful. Thank you for that. You have to keep it. The kiss. Hope you make a point to point. Oh, William also asks, hope that I make a point to point and a continuous 360. Yeah, that other layout, it does go. Kurt Sunday, thank you very, very much. We got a large, it's 40 feet or 4 feet long by 10 feet oval, like a giant contact pill, like this. That'll be up in Monday morning's video, Monday 10 a.m. So I understand that there's a lot of guys out there that have lunch. They must be on the East Coast. So they sit down for lunch and they throw on my channel and they watch lunch. So I was thinking about changing it to later in the day. And I'm like, well, I don't want to deny them guys on the East Coast if that's what they're doing. I think they work in some machine shops, welding shops. Like, I don't want to take that away from them. So we'll keep it at 10 a.m. for sure. Transylvania. Yeah. Glenarwood. Yeah. The Tasmanian Devils. Yeah. John Adkins, I like the older Lionels too. They're going to run and run forever and ever for sure. So, yes. Train Man, Ives. If I could find some, if I could find parts too, it'd be great to do an Ives repair video. Some guys ask me, do I do repairs? And they want me to do something like a 2020 or a 671 turbine. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't want to do those because I've done them and I don't have time to do customer stuff. Comes up with something odd that I think would make a great video. Yeah, send that up. We'll work on that. So I don't want to sound like I'm two-faced if somebody goes, that guy told me he wouldn't work on mine. Well, if it's super interesting, I want to work on it. But if there's something that's been done on the video on the channel already, I try to make it easy for you, save you some money and getting it done. That's my ultimate goal in life, is to make your guys' lives easier, hopefully. West Coast Slot Cars. Hello, California. Thank you for your kind words out there. Local Dave, you got an Ives? I've never seen it yet. What the hell? You're holding out on me, I tell you. If it still runs, it needs serviced, right? We can still take it apart and service it and put it back together. Giuseppe, yeah, I bet you they are pretty heavy ones for sure. Troy Daniels, what website do I get my decals from? eBay. All my parts come from eBay. A lot of guys always want to know where I get my stuff at, like I've got some secret honey hole. eBay, or it's the train tender out of upstate New York. You can Google that. It'll show up. I think the guy's name is Jeff. Um, and that's it. I got his phone number, but I mean, you can easily Google it. He's even got a webpage where you can look up your own parts and order from him. Nice, New Yorkers. If you're not from New York, your accent is just scary to us Midwesterners. But I understand that that's New York accent, and that's what nice guys sound like in New York talk. Too much fun. Now Tim and John, see, they are going to meet up now. One guy's wearing a Pertec cap, so we made new friends in Australia from some guys. Ian finally made it in. Texas Scale Models tries to print. Yeah, 3D printing would be great, as long as it's a non-drivetrain part. I've got some experience with 3D printed gears, and they don't work too well. So Giuseppe is still talking about his Ives. That'd be great stuff. Somebody was visiting with, it's got a complete train set. It's an early 1930s something to send in, and it's hard for me to keep up with all the comments. I need to bring this up now, and I'm also going to bring it up in Monday's video because it ain't done being filmed yet. I appreciate all the comments on the videos, and when you guys put those algorithm that you're engaging with the video, and then it helps it push it out to more people. The way the algorithms work is it shows it to somebody that they think might enjoy it, and if you engage with it by watching it, giving it a thumb up, commenting, then it'll push it out to more people. It doesn't just throw it up to every guy's YouTube that's up on the TV ever across. You got to be kind of in that market for it to promote it. And the more it gets engaged with, if it promotes it to 10 people and 8 people interact with it, it's going to promote it out to 20 more people. And if they interact with it, it'll put it out to 40 more people, and so on and so on. Commenting is a great thing, but one of the downsides is the fact that I've got so many comments now, I'm not able to actually answer every single one of them anymore. I apologize about that, but I mean, I could sit down for 4 hours on a Monday and a Tuesday just trying to answer questions, and then I content. I promote stuff on Facebook, and I'm not able to answer those comments either. I apologize, but it just takes so much time. But I do read every single one of the comments because I got to make sure nobody's saying something dumb or they're throwing up some spam or something like that. But for me to type it, I just can't go that. I have to get my own AI, my own Grok, so I can have him answer it for me. Is it a him or is it a her? I don't know. Ian Farrell, some guys were talking about buffering problems earlier. I don't know how it's, I haven't seen anything about it. Scott Madison, you're welcome. Glad that you got that Mahano center cab going. Those are nice little guys. I think that's that one I was doing I was pulling it up that hill, and the thing jumped up and down and come uncoupled and about crashed off the board. I remember that was one heck of a little puller too. I was really surprised with those new traction tires on it. Boy, it really went. I always give you a thumbs down too, just to make sure we get all the engagements. Give you a thumbs. No, Scale Train Station, you got to do a thumb up. I do need a multiplicity. Yeah, that's how I get 2 smart ones and 1 really dumb one on that movie Multiplicity. So, too funny. The team is working great now. Slide Cat Chesapeake in Ohio. The Steam is working great. Oh, the stream is working. Okay, yeah. I always have a tendency to bang on the keyboard super fast also. So it's like there was 206 of us watching. I think I found a way to look and see what the people are out there. What do you guys got on the bottom of the screen? For viewership. This is a different window than the last time I was doing this for some reason. That UK does sound like it's a tough one to get, or Australia, for shipping is god awful down there. It's unfortunate. 233 says B. So yeah, numbers are all over the board. 196, 183. Wow, crazy. It's like watching an election night. It may or may not. We don't know. Depends on where you're from now. So, yep. I've ran out of all the stuff that I printed off for questions for the layout. I don't know if I got them all answered for you or not. Or any other questions. Spare part supplies, yeah, down Australia. Interesting enough. Anybody got any? I'm running out of things to talk about here. I've been chatting up a storm for an hour and 22 minutes. 228 in Pennsylvania, 213 at Ed's house. Richard's going to go have a beer. So, yeah, that's a good idea. Sure. Dave here in Billings has got 203. Yeah. So, well, I guess if we've got everything answered up and stuff like that, I don't want to keep talking everybody's ear off. Ron, can you just give me a thumb up on my comment? I can do Jersey Bill. I can thumbs up on the Facebook. Yeah, I can go through there and crank all those. Kurt Sunday, you are very welcome, sir. Dave, East Coast Dave's got a building on fire down there. Oh no, Brandon, this is just water, ice water. I can't do that. So, and it's not like the old days, no. So, for own collection that you don't have. Giuseppe wants to, what loco do you really want for your own collection? Honest to God, I've had everything. I get more. I've gotten some that I didn't know I wanted. I wonder if I can get that to show up. If I turn this over here, no, yes, no, yes, no. This one right here, River Rossi. It's a John Wilkes 462. That showed up in almost a donation. And I what it was, and it was like, oh my God, what is this beautiful thing? And now I found out I need to get the passenger cars to go with it because it's kind of rare and you kind of got to get on it and spend way too much money buying each car individually. And then you'll have to sell the completed set for like $200 less. But that's the weird way that the game gets played. Did I see somebody from North Dakota? Oh, there's Gerald from North Dakota. Did you come in? He's from the motherland. Disney Channel has Railroad All-Street TV series. Wow. That Discovery, they got a lot of stuff on there for sure. 212. Dan Crane, thanks for hosting the live stream tonight. Dan, thanks for stopping in. You have a good evening also. So we got 7:24. I guess we'll try to end her up here about 7:30. A Fisher-Price circus train in the 70s, huh? Chris Cummings out there. Alabama. Yeah, I guess tomorrow's Easter Day coming up. So another one of them holidays. John Garrett's in Jersey. I don't even know how to say that name. Elikas. Happy Easter, everyone. Thanks for being a real swell fellow, Ron. You betcha. Thanks for watching and supporting the channel. Everybody that's out there. So this evening, Monday, we're going to have the next update on the layout. We need the weather to warm up now because it's going to be cold for 2 days, but there's a chance that we might have something running on a portion of that track come Monday's video for sure. So Christopher CB Train Nut out there, glad you managed to pop in. So Mark Ryan just found this thing. Yeah. Ronald Brooks, happy Easter to you. I tried to list this morning at 10 is when I put up the thumbnail that the video live was coming up. I don't know if your action's turned on, if it would notify you that it's happening. I did get a notification on my watch that I was going to be doing this in a half an hour from now at 5:30. So if Jersey Bill, thank you very much for that. Very kind of you. So if you got notifications turned on, then you'll know when these odd little lives come in also. There's a Brandon from Minnesota also. Good to see you guys made it. Get a beer, Jersey Bill. Yep, thank you very much, Jersey Bill. Flux, it looks like everybody's kind of telling everybody goodbye. They're popping into the stream. Very interesting. This, of course, will be available on YouTube as a video. I'll change the thumbnail and then give it about a half an hour, I noticed, or an hour. And then the chat scroll video to reread it for guys that might have popped in at the end and missed what we said at the beginning, like that. This one's going to be short, hour and a half. So I think that last one was 2.5 hours long. So, yepers. Pete, thanks for stopping in. Scott Stubbs, thanks. Also, Stephen Walker, you betcha. Sean the 12th man, happy Easter. The notifications worked for him down there in Melbourne. Thank you, Buck. Debbie Hudgens, thank you. Thank you for coming by. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean. Thanks for stopping in. The heart thing is going off again. Glenn, thanks for watching. Jason Adkins. Good night, everybody. Texas Scale Modelers. Ian Farrell. Rob Flux. Tim Spittin' Pieces. Kurt Sunday. What's your little ladies? Oh, see you, Lynn. Thanks for stopping in also. Kurt's Lynn. Is it Lynn Sunday? I bet you it is. Fidel Bouchard, thanks for popping in. Electric Railways, Dale Frischetti. Have a good evening. Wayne Bem. Slide Cat Chesapeake, Troy Daniels. Yep, John D. Frederick Persall. Bob R. Brian Donovan. Eric Smith. Thank you very much for your kind words. So I'm going to hit the end button. And then scroll will go on for now. Bye-bye. 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 That actually came off of a Saturday Night Live skit with Helen Hunt back in the day. Ooh, classic model for sure. So, William Dale, the temp changes in the space and the track joining. I'm not sure because the tracks aren't together yet on it, William. So, good night, everybody. Good night, Glenn, Wayne, Brandon. So, good night, everybody. Thanks for stopping in. Bye-bye.